Hey guys, Captain Rick Murphy here in Texas, and we're going to be fishing with Carl West in our Upper Coast region, captain from the Texas Insider Fishing Report. And if you want to stay up to date, then you just want to subscribe down below. It's that time to get ready for your fishing weekend adventure. So if you're planning to go bass fishing, our freshwater guides are standing by with the latest fishing reports, and the offshore fishing remains outstanding. Plus, Dave Ferrell has the newest products to keep you safe out there on the water. This is the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, ready to bring you your guides for another weekend of stellar fishing in your region, along with some special guests from SiriusXM Marine and Garmin. But Rick, you know, school's back in session, football season is here, and hunting isn't far behind, but we still have to find time to throw some lines in the water, don't you think?
Absolutely, Brie. And, you know, it is one of my favorite things to do is to go fishing. So, you know what? I think I'm going to continue that for the rest of my life.
It's all about priorities, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And
right.
I will not allow anything to get in the way of
Never,
that.
never. All right, let's see if Dave Ferrell has his priorities set straight over at the CCA Workbench.
I'll continue to fish as well, especially if you keep mentioning me in the front of the show like that. Dave Ferrell with new products. I gotta love that.
We have to do that more. Look how happy he is.
I'm so
Look how
happy.
he's so happy he got
Hear
mentioned
my
in the
name.
beginning.
We love it when Dave's happy. It's always a good thing. All
We're
right.
talking about striped bass fishing.
Okay. The Garmin Lower Coast region is first to kick us off today. So, Captain Chad Kinney, if you're ready for us, we're ready to rumble. Go for it.
I'll tell you what, last week of August here coming up, and the forecast looks phenomenal for the lower coast here. Offshore, looking like 1 to 3 foot sea conditions. Bay is going to be great. And then we're moving right into September, which is my favorite month. We got some good stuff coming up. I've got 2 floater trips coming up in September from the deep rig, so I'll get you that info in September here. But moving on to the inshore here, I've been saying this for a while, but I've never seen it last this long. The lower coast jetties, Port A, Port Mansfield, continue to keep on producing big bull redfish and slot redfish. Use live croaker, finger mullet, free line when the tides are slack, and kind of slowly move and do that free line, stuff like that. When they pick up, go over to a Carolina rig, which is basically, just put like a 3/4 ounce egg weight on your main line, and then put a barrel swivel below that so it's big enough to stop that egg weight, and then go ahead and catch about a 40 to 60 pound leader and like a 5 to 7 ounce tail hook for your bait. And then go ahead and throw these on the drop-offs or washouts. And if you're using lures, then go ahead and heavy a jig head about 3/4 ounce and put some fish bites, shrimp or crab scented, I think works the best out there around the jetties. And also the Chartreuse Fight Clubs have been working on that stuff. Key thing in that is you got to cast it not into the rocks, but close enough into those eddies and stuff like that. Let it sink, get to the bottom, and bump it off the bottom. Start producing some of those redfish like that right around the sand and the rocks there. Move over to the trout. In the lower coast here, they're still holding that 3 to 5 foot of water. We've been doing lots of wading and drifting and stuff like that. They're still holding on those grass beds and spotted bottoms along the lower coast here. If you're working in the deeper areas, there's some bigger sand pockets and stuff like that. It's not as much grass. Go ahead and free line the croaker, and it's been working really good. If you're fishing heavier grass areas, the best way to fish this stuff is a power pole down, use a remote, and to get off and go ahead and wade fish. So carry your remote with you and get in that grass area. We've been throwing some saltwater sassons and magic grass. They've been killing that stuff, and also the hot chicken's been working really, really well on that stuff. Use an 1/8 ounce jig head, keep it in the middle of the plane right on top of that turtle grass. Stuff works great. Take plenty of plastics when you're wading out there, because there's been tons of undersized trout with them, so you get plenty of action, but there's still some keepers mixed in there like that also with it. And when the winds are calmer, which they have been in the mornings right now, and it looks like it's been really calm this weekend, throw in a mirror lure real early in the morning. The CI Pro Dog bone color is working really good on your topwater action. Then heading over to the offshore, which some of these guys have been talking about, the Garmin. I've been using this product now. It's called a Mini InReach for about 2 months on my offshore boat. And say the least, I got rid of my sat phone. It's gone off the boat. This thing's been working great. They'll give you more details on it later, but look into it, guys, and definitely get it. It's great for safety and communication for anybody on land and everything else like that. So as far as the fishing goes, state water snapper fishing still remaining really, really good. Look for your structure in the 50, 90 foot of water and drift with these lighter winds. You don't need to anchor up, and the sea conditions can be better. So fresh bait's really a good kicker and a key to have this. The best thing to do is get some menhaden or any bycatch you got from local shrimp boats. You guys are up in Port A, go down to the local docks, get some stuff off the boats. You're here in Port Mansfield. We've got our own boats at Laguna Madre Baits. Tell us what you're looking for, and we'll have it fresh, usually on ice and stuff like that. And if not, you can always pick some squid or cigar minnows for backup, but the fresh stuff really, really seems to help the bite and do well. If you're using jigs, go lighter with like a 1 to 3 ounce jig, and then tip it off with some fish bites also with that. It works really well. And then remember, those fish are going to be a lot more effective to get suspended fish up there, and they're going to be really good like that. Also, another tip, I've said this before, but use at least a 100-pound leader to 150. And the main thing for this is, one, you won't get it rashed and break off, but two, when you go ahead and take a wrap, if you don't have gloves on, you won't cut your fingers up. You can go ahead and land on a snapper really easy on that. Another thing, drift off these structures you got there. Drift about 400 to 1,000 foot off and get into the sand and go ahead and see if you're still catching any fish. Go ahead and repeat that drift. And the best way to do that is, I got the Garmin 8612 on my boat. So what I do is I go back around. You have a track on there, start at your same pattern, and then mark down that second drift. When you stop biting, say it's 500 feet away, say, hey, we stopped catching 500, go to 600. And if you stop bites, then go back out and repeat this, and you'll really increase your fishing productivity in that way. Moving over to amberjack fishing, it's been remaining really, really excellent down here at the Gulf Coast. So I talked to Mike Walker, Salt Walker. He's out of South Padre Island. Guy's on some really big reef donkeys. He's been really hammering them down there. For the bigger amberjack, try live bait, blue runner, and stuff like that. It's working really good. And then free line that into the middle column of the water. And on your Garmin, if you start looking at this in detail, look at your Garmin. You can see those, the amberjack in there. They're going to be an orange, big old strip, and there's going to be multiple of them all over, and they're going to be suspended. That's going to be your amberjack. You see a big old ball of stuff. That's just going to be bait, triggerfish, spadefish, stuff like that. So ignore that. Look for the other ones. And the best thing to do on that one also is, once you see those in your sonar, go ahead and drop your baits down through there, follow your track, do the same thing as snapper, and you'll hammer the amberjack, have a lot better results. So I got a good picture of a limited amberjack here from Salt Walker of the island there.
All right, thanks. Way to start us off, Chad. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower coast hotspots. He says, inshore, the lower coast jetties have been producing bull redfish and slot redfish. Trout are still holding in the lower Laguna Madre in 3 to 5 feet of water along the grass beds. And then offshore, for the most action, work the shrimp boats offshore and the deeper wrecks for amberjacks. State water snappers continue to produce in structure from 50 to 90 feet of water.
All right, Rick, let's head up to our Yeti Upper Fresh region to see what's taking a bite out of our weekend coming up on Lake Texoma and Fork. Take it away, Johnny.
Hey, Rick and Brie. Man, I got a great report tonight from Lake Texoma, report from Captains Bill and Chris Carey of the Striper Express. This week, their topwater bite's been excellent. Each morning, there are acres of striper surfacing up there. The large school of stripers, they're pushing the shad up the surface where the bait can run, but it can't hide. The stripers are busting the surface and attacking the shad with a vengeance. Captain Bill says the splashes can be seen over a mile, and if you're headed into the east, you can really see them into the sun. When approaching that school, pay attention to which direction the fish are moving, because you want to position your boat in front of the fish. Let that school come towards you. This way you don't spook the school or make them speed up or scatter the feeding frenzy. Once the school's within casting range, try to land that old large topwater plug near a big old striper, and pop it real quick and reel it real fast, and you got one hitting it. Most times the fish attack the plug, but that doesn't mean it's hooked up. You got to wait till you feel the tug of the fish before you set the hook. Then you'll get a good hookup. Hey, about 1 to 2 hours of topwater action, and that's over. You got to switch over to slabs then. Use some soft plastic jigs. Slabbing's been good on the ledges, he says, and on the flats. Bump the bottom depths 10 to 30 foot of water. And with the jigs, just cast them out, let them fall before you retrieve, and they're suspended, and you catch them there. You'll catch a mixed bag of Euro-class fish up there at Texoma now, but Bill says the last 10 days, the bigger fish been biting. He's been able to find whole schools of 8 to 10 pound fish, and the largest striper this week came in at 14 pounds. So if you're planning a trip to Texoma in the fall, it's not too soon to give a Striper Express call, or call them up on striperexpress.com. Got a picture he sent in. This young man, 7-year-old Wake Richardson from Oklahoma, caught and landed his personal best striper, and I'll bet he had a lot of coaching and cheering him on in that battle. Way to go, Mr. Wake.
I love the smile, Johnny. What else?
Over at Lake Fork on crappie, man. Now I'm targeting a big crappie with my Garmin. Before I get into it, a couple of things real quick to update everybody on. One of our favorite lakes, you've heard me talk about a lot, Lake Monticello, closed up this week. Texas Parks and Wildlife manages that Lumina electric power plant. Used to cool the coal-powered electrical plant that's shut down now. Monticello has been fishing great since the plant shut down, but for some reason the only boat launch in the lake was closed this week. It's locked up, so we don't know when or if it'll be open, but I'll keep you posted on that. Also over at Lake Welsh, another power plant lake I've talked about a lot. They got a new paved boat launch. Went over there this week, had a big shad kill due to real hot water, so Anyway, it's going to get better. Remember, Texas fishing license expire August 31st. Got to have the new ones on. So be sure to buy those. And don't forget the kill switch law goes in effect September the 1st. Okay, the best bite on Lake Fork right now is the crappie. Black bass fishing should soon start to pick up. We had a little rain today. It's going to get better, but the crappie continues to impress both with size and numbers. Most all the crappie fishermen who are targeting brush piles are catching good numbers of crappie at this time, but the size is not as big as those anglers who's using their Garmin Lasco to locate and catch the big white crappie they're holding on the deep timber out about 23 to 28 foot. We've been able to get a good numbers of 10 to 12 inch crappie out of the brush. Don't want to limit out because we want to save some time to go hunt the big ones. I pull out that Garmin, finding the big old crappie holding in the brush and the big white on that pole timber out deeper. Man, they're shining like ornaments on a Christmas tree. Minnows have been the best bait to catch numbers, and a 1/4 ounce jig type with a tip with a minnow seems to be the best way to get that 2-pound crappie to hit. I don't want to sound like a broken rigger, Rick, but that Garmin Lasco, man, that's one amazing piece of equipment. My customers are having as much fun watching the crappie hit the baits as I've ever seen. So finding those big schools of crappie is easy with the Lasco. It takes a little bit of time and boat control to find the new spots and position that boat within reach of the school without spooking them. But once you do, it's game on. Threw in a couple of pictures of a couple that fished with me this week, and a couple of 2-pound crappie, and we had a limit to go with those, but those are some pretty good size, big old white crappie on fork.
Hi.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready for these dog days of August to be over. Great fishing just around the corner, and you can't catch them on the Capt, so let's go fishing this weekend.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Great report, Johnny. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Upper Fresh region. He says Lake Texoma, big stripers are hitting top waters early, slabs and jigs later in the day, and then Lake Fork, big crappies on minnows in the brush piles and the deep timber.
Can't catch them sitting on the couch, lit up like Christmas lights, which Christmas will be here before we even know it. That's crazy. Time's going by so fast. Speaking of time going by fast, we're just getting started here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report. I know you are. And we're headed to the Fish Bites Upper Coast region next. However, we've got some yearning for some learning with Dave Ferrell at the CCA Workbench.
I thought all the stores were rushing us. They're already into Thanksgiving. You're talking about Christmas already.
Well, Johnny mentioned it.
Big striped bass would consider it Christmas morning if he sees one of these swimming by.
Wow.
Christmas has come early, people. We'll be right back with all that.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Garmin. Join the club. Sportsman's Adventures. Fishing for adventure. And CCA Texas, a leader in marine conservation.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Are you tired of fighting foul odors in your car? The easy-to-use Auto Odor Eliminator from Starbright uses the power of chlorine dioxide to eliminate even the worst smells. From cigarettes and pets to fast food and sweaty kids, this EPA-registered chlorine dioxide technology fights the odor-causing bacteria, the source of the stink. Don't just cover it up. Eliminate it with the Auto Odor Eliminator from Starbright.
If you're not a member of Coastal Conservation Association, you need to be. CCA fights on a national and state level for our fishing rights so that our children and grandchildren will have fish to catch today and in the future. CCA, through their habitat programs, create oyster and artificial reefs, as well as many other habitat programs. CCA also each year releases millions of trout, redfish, and flounder, so join myself, Brie, and Dave and become a member of CCA now. Well, we're here at the CCA Workbench, and as you know, rigs and techniques. And Dave, you've got, colors,
big stuff.
shapes,
Yeah.
big stuff. So let's just go get it.
Well, we're talking about striped bass, and the striped bass is like the 4th most sought after game fish in Texas, freshwater fish. And so, they're worth like $20 million to the economy of Lake Texoma alone. So a lot of people go to Texas and fish for striped bass in Texas, and which is really cool thing because striped bass are mainly a saltwater species. They can live in saltwater and freshwater. What they do is normally they live in saltwater, and then they go up into freshwater to spawn, and they'll go up 100 miles inland to spawn, and that's pretty much why they have to stock all the bass in Texas, because they don't have a whole lot of rivers connected to the ocean, and the striped bass weren't in the Gulf of Mexico. They're on the Atlantic side, so they stocked them all in there. And in most of the lakes, they have to keep stocking them because they can't reproduce in there. And the reason is that striped bass need that freshwater movement. And there's a couple, I think there's one lake has Lake Texoma actually has the Red River that runs through it. So it can actually sustain itself. The striped bass in that lake can actually reproduce and make more little bass because they need actually 50 miles. They say they need 50 miles of rolling water, because when those eggs go down, if they just go down in stagnant water, they won't turn into little fish. They have to roll in order to be fertilized. And that's why they need that rolling water. And once they get fertilized and start getting in there really good, then they get big. And the Texas state record is like 51 pounds. So those are some ginormous fish swimming around in a lot of these reservoirs, these deep, clear water, and really good reservoirs for these fish. Now, the best thing to do to find them is to look for birds a lot of times. Early in the morning, the bass will come up a lot of times, and the birds will get active. But if you're not seeing a lot of birds, then you're going to need your Garmin. You're going to need your sounder, and that's how most guys find them in deep water, especially during the summertime. The fish get a little lazier, but they like that cooler water, so they'll all migrate out to the deepest parts, the deepest sections of the lakes, and they'll school up around those shad. And when you mark shad on your finder, that's where you're going to want to try to target the bass. And you can do it an enormous amount of ways. You can catch shad and fish live baits, but most guys will use crankbaits and a new thing called slab baits. The crankbaits are great when the birds and everything, when the bass get everything up close to the top. The shad get up near the top. You can actually throw crankbaits that'll go down 10 or 15 feet or 20 feet, even 30 feet, some of them. And that's fairly shallow in some of these lakes. You want the shad to come up and get everything busted on the surface. If that's happening, you can throw a nice topwater plug at them, and that's always a great thing to do. Is to catch a striped bass on a big topwater plug. But jigs like this, and some other, and the slab jigs over there, like the Williamsons and the butterfly jigs, those are the kind of the go-to type things in the summertime. Big spoons, a big slab spoon, or a big giant crocodile spoon, something that's silvery and flashy. And what they'll do is they'll find that ball of shad, sit right on top of it, and drop their spoons or big jig heads all the way right down to the school, and just sit there and work them. You go to drop it down a little bit and work it up to the top and through the top of the school of shad, and then drop it back down. A lot of times they'll hit it on the fall, and a lot of times they'll hit it when it's coming up. But what they do like is they like those heavier baits, because what they do is they imitate a shad darting. Making that move, and that's what triggers the bite. If it's going too slow, a lot of times they don't want anything to do with it. They want something that's actually moving really quick, like a fleeing shad. And as you can see, most of these baits are fish, because striped bass, that's what they eat. They're fish eaters more than anything else. A lot of other bass will eat bugs and crawdads and whatnot, but striped bass, they like fish.
They like
anything that looks like a fish, they want to eat it.
Shapes are the way to go, Brie.
We all like fish, Dave. Thank you so much. You're a wealth of knowledge over there. I always learn a lot. We like fish. All right, all I can say, Rick, is that the Fish Bites Upper Coast region will definitely be on fire this weekend, so get excited if you're planning on fishing with Captain Carl Weston. All right, tell us what we're catching, Carl.
Well, right now the trout pattern has been a little inconsistent. With the weather, we've had a lot of rain the last few days. It's muddying up the water. But when the weather is good and the tide is right, the oyster reefs in East Galveston Bay have been producing some nice catches of trout. Guys dragging croakers have been producing some nice fish in the middle of the bay. But when you're throwing artificial baits, the bite has been a little more consistent on topwater due to all the shad on the surface. So Mirror Lure Little John, the small paddle tails, with a light jig head, 8 ounce or lighter has been really good. And as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, when the bait hits the water, burn it that quickly for your best possible bite. And we have a photo here today of Chloe with a trout.
Aww,
Cutie.
look at Chloe
Adorable.
there. All right, what else you got for us inshore?
We got redfish. Redfish bite is in the back of the Trinity Bay has been excellent. The redfish like to congregate on these flats around the bayous in the Trinity River on the north end of the bay. And these schools of redfish just get thicker. Later we get in the summer, as they get thicker, you'll see them busting bait. Generally, wade fishing for these fish in this area is key. However, if the tide is high enough, you can also drift along the edges of the flats. Topwaters and gold spoons have been producing our best bites lately. And we have a picture of Mr. Jeff with a nice redfish here.
Nice.
Mr.
That's a
Jeff.
pretty picture. Good job, Carl. All right, let's go offshore where you love to make your living.
All right. Well, talk about kingfish again. Hate to beat a dead horse, but the kingfish bite has been hot, both offshore and nearshore. We're catching really nice fish over bottom structure and behind the shrimp boats right now. We're drifting cigar minnows or bump trolling. Both ways are getting the job done right now. When you're looking for these kings over structure, watch for fish marking about midway in the water column. Kings will show a much larger mark than the bait at the bottom will. And check your drift and then set your lines out. Let your baits drift away from the boat with the current. And as your bait sinks deeper and deeper, when you get a strike, this will enable you to gauge the depth of the fish. And from there, you can go back and, really put it on them. You'll get the right range. And so today we have a picture of Mr. Troy with a really nice kingfish.
All right, one more species to go, bud.
Well, let's talk about vermilion snapper, or as we call them in Texas, beeliners. They've been a solid bite all year for us. These fish, they usually school over structure in large numbers. Vermilion will most times be a little higher in the water column than your snapper and your other bottom fish. So when you're marking your meter, you'll see your bottom fish and you'll see a little cloud above them, 10 to 15, 20 feet higher. Usually that's your beeliners. You want to downsize, try using the smallest hooks and bait you can use for these little guys. You'll see your hookup ratio improve a lot. Cut squid is my bait of choice on a drop rig with two 2-aught hooks and about 10 ounces of weight if you're fishing 150 foot or under. And if you're deeper, you'll add weight as you go. I usually hit the bottom, reel up 10 or 15 cranks, and load up. And we have a picture here today of a nice bag of beeliners.
Nice. That's making me hungry. Me and Brie are both sitting there thinking about snapper dinner. All right, dude, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Mirror Lure hotspots from the Fish Bite Upper Coast region. He says inshore, trout on the oyster reefs of East Galveston Bay, wading or drifting, throwing Mirror Lure Little Johns or small paddle tails on an 1/8 ounce jig head. And then offshore, kingfish over the structure and behind shrimp boats, drifting or bump trolling, cigar minos.
Cigar minos. I don't know, but let me mull it over.
Okay.
You didn't catch.
over.
Okay,
I
good. You got it.
it.
All right. That wasn't magic, but there is something magical about the Baja Peninsula and its rugged beauty that keeps visitors coming back time and time again. Los Cabos, where the stunning desert meets the incredibly blue waters of the Pacific Ocean, and the Sea of Cortez offers up endless vacation possibilities in one of the most striking yet relaxed locations in all of Mexico. There's no shortage of good food, good friends, and good times on any visit to Los Cabos. For decades, anglers, vacationers, and celebrities have flocked to this idyllic landscape to fish in some of the world's richest waters, explore the vast desert beauty, or just unwind in the area's luxurious 5-star resorts. No matter what your budget, a visit visit to Los Cabos fulfills all of your holiday dreams. And when the sun goes down, Cabo lights back up. You can enjoy fine dining in an intimate seaside location or dance the night away in some of the most eclectic nightclubs on the planet. The good times are just getting started after dark in Los Cabos. To get a head start on your planning your Los Cabos vacation this year, go to visitloscabos.travel. And these boys on set here are just dancing the night away and distracting me. So he's got moves. He's got moves. He's ready to go to Los Cabos. We're going to go. All right, coming up next, we're headed to the Middle Coast and Middle Fresh regions along with talking to our friends from Garmin Marine and SiriusXM Marine. But before we go, we want to remind you that if you would like to catch up with our crew and everything fishing in Texas, make sure to visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and check us out on Instagram for all those dancing videos. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, always in the game. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. CCA Star, fishing fun for giant prizes and scholarships. And Project Smokehouse, a link above.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
As close as you're gonna get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left, there's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Well, welcome back, and joining me is my fishing buddy Jeff Leach from SiriusXM Marine and John Spindle from Garmin Marine. And guys, welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. And you know, Jeff, a few weeks ago we teased everybody with the launch of Fish Maps. So why don't you tell everybody about it?
That's right. So fish mapping is officially here. And we have, for any offshore anglers, we have 8 dedicated features to fishing. So the first one is fishing recommendations. We'll show you hotspots offshore on your chart plotter from satellite of various fish species out there. We'll also show you weed lines. We'll show you plankton information, sea surface temperature fronts.
Updwellings, downdwellings.
Exactly.
Subsurface temps.
Exactly. Yep, 30-meter subsurface temps as well.
Wow. So yeah. John, you know, how is Garmin involved in this? And is this an exclusive program that you guys have put together?
It is exclusive. You can only find it on a Garmin unit. So you do need some hardware. You'd want an antenna. You want a Garmin chart plotter. So along with our GPS map series and our GXM 54 antenna, you now receive that service, view it on your Garmin chart plotter, and control all of those features. We're also offering rebates. So with the purchase of the antenna, you get a $100 rebate, and then we're also giving a $150 rebate if you trade in an older Garmin SiriusXM antenna.
All right. So Jeff, I do have a question. So in this package with fish mapping, do we have the traditional SiriusXM Marine features that we would get in an offshore package?
Yes, so this is really a superset. This is the highest tier of package. So it comes with all the offshore weather tier, and then it comes with those 8 fish mapping features that we're talking about.
So we also have the ability of radar,
yep.
sea surface temps, wind and wave heights.
Yep, marine zones.
And buoys and all
yep.
of that stuff.
All the weather features.
So if guys want to know more about it, where do they go?
Yep,
Jeff?
so go to SiriusXM.com/fish mapping. And also want to note too, we have a 1-month trial on the fish mapping service right now. So go ahead and sign up. Get your GXM 54 and sign up.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Rick.
Bree, what?
Definitely a buzz going around about that fish mapping. I've heard it, so I'm really excited for it, and I hope you guys are too. All right, our Middle Coast Region Captain, Bink Grimes, is the man with the plan and has the perfect solution for some weekend free time. So tell us the schedule, Bink.
Well, I plan on using my Garmin as well. That's just about all I've ever used is Garmin electronics, and love them. I tell you, this weekend we'll be open to fishing and for dove hunting. We're going to throw a topwater early in the morning and then hunt sunflower fields later in the evening for white wing. My dove fields are right behind Project Smokehouse there in El Campo. I meet my hunters at Project, eat lunch, and head to the field. And we've been doing it for years. Today I went and checked my field, ate lunch with Mike Jr., Mike Sr., had a good time. That's what we kind of like to do, and our dove hunting is incredible. This time of year, we love to wade, and thankfully a lot of our customers have been choosing that route. It's been a good summer wading in the sand and grass in West Bay, mud and shell in East Bay, and the guts and bars in the surf. Mid-Bay reefs in East Matagorda Bay really turned on this week with light winds. Sheep humps, bass, assassins, saltines have worked well around Half Moon, Three Beacon, and Long Reef. And the drifters have found good fish on live shrimp under a mid-coast cork around Boiler Bow, Raymond Shoals, Oyster Farm, and Boggy Cut. Yesterday, we limited on trout, and we let go 3 fish, 5 to 7 pounds. It was a really, really good day. The August surf, it's given us a lot of days, and that's what we're kind of hoping to do. We got a cold front coming through that's going to drop temperatures about 10 to 12 degrees, and it's going to flatten our surf this weekend. And we're really looking forward to throwing mirror lure she dogs and sheep pups out there in the Gulf, working the first and second bars, and also throwing 51M mirror lures and softines. A lot of good fish out in the surf, and we're hoping to get one more crack at it before summer's over. Then reefs in San Antonio Bay has been hot with light winds. They're wading with live bait, and some are posting up on the edges with finger mullets. They're wading closer to sea or bow as well, finding fish in the guts on soft plastic and corkies. Tides fell a bit this week in Rockport. That sent a lot of those anglers to the edges of the ICW on live shrimp and piggy perch, and soft plastics worked well. Around a shrimp boat channel, they're kind of using their trolling motor and throwing on that drop-off in 2 to 5 foot of water. Then the jetty at Port Aransas has been good for trout on finger mullet and free-line shrimp. The jetty there in Freeport in the surf side, the Quintana jetty has been awesome as well. It ought to be just as good this weekend because green tides are going to creep up, and there's going to be a lot of fishermen taking advantage of the Labor Day weekend. Photo there, big trout continue to dominate in East Matagorda Bay, like I said before. Here's another one caught and released last week. Man, just solid fish in that bay. It just produces. Redfish, West Matagorda Bay guide Brett Sweeney. He's been producing limits of redfish while anchoring over mud on the incoming tide. Guide Albert Garrison, he's catching reds along the grass on the north shoreline. And there's some of those reds are beginning to school along the shorelines. Those shrimp are kind of starting to congregate, and those reds push them to the top, and it's pretty easy pickings when you see little gulls over the shrimp. Guide Kendall Kerr said the birds have been working and schooling in the East Matagorda Bay. Gold spoons and shrimp have worked best. Most of those reds are on the shorelines with the higher tides. If that storm gets in the Gulf a little later next week, our tides are going to bull up, and it's really going to help our redfish action. The jetty turned on with good catches of redfish in Matagorda, Freeport, Port O'Connor, and Port Aransas. Most are using mullet, piggy perch, and large table shrimp. And then the redfish are showing in their Santo Bay as well. Back Lakes and Port O'Connor are giving up those redfish on little small sheep humps and shrimp imitations. Then again, right now bull redfish are starting to make their move to the Gulf for their ocean spawn. Beach anglers, they've been tossing crabs and mullet, and it actually, you don't have to have a calm surf. The bull reds actually like it when it's rougher out there because when they spawn, it disperses their eggs. They kind of know what's going on. So a lot of bull reds are caught in a really rough surf. You might also see a lot of redfish on top this weekend. Seems like every September, first part of September, those big wads of redfish will group up around our jetty, and it'll just be a wall of red in there. You throw anything out there, and it gets eaten. Offshore, our kingfish, Freeport, Mike Siegel, real charters. It's been good. The state waters on sardines, the larger kings have been found deeper water around the shrimp boats while trolling. He said there's a lot of Spanish mackerel out there as well, and those kingfish are showing around the Freeport and Port O'Connor jetties also for some of those anglers that are chasing those redfish or getting surprised by those kingfish. Matagorda, Michael Quebeca says same thing. Kingfish all over the place, from the jetties all out to the shrimp boats, 200 foot of water. He's still chasing swordfish and tilefish about 60 to 80 miles out. They'll make another push this weekend because the big pond will be tranquil again, man. It's supposed to be less than 1 foot this weekend. Nice wahoo and dorado as well. And then in Port Aransas, a lot of kingfish, amberjack, and tuna have been caught on overnight trips. And there's been some tarpon, to about 90 to 100 pounds showing up around the Port O'Connor jetty. And we're looking forward to a safe and Labor Day weekend. We hope everybody enjoys themselves, catches a lot of fish, and shoots some doves. It's like a rite of passage in Texas. September 1st starts it all off.
Your great report, Bink. Thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the CCA Texas hotspots. He said that the trout are good on the reef in San Antonio Bay on live shrimp and while waiting with the bass assassin. And then redfish are good for waders in West Matagorda Bay on bass assassin sea shads as well. He just mentions dove hunting and I can't even read. I'm thinking about why am I not dove hunting with him?
Especially because it's behind Project Smokehouse, which means he gets to eat good too.
I could get a kolache and a dove.
Oh. Man, it's okay. Calm down. I got you. I can read this. All right, let's bring in the big guns in the Star-Tron Middle Fresh region to give us the latest on Richland Chambers, Toledo Bend, Lake Livingston, and Sam Rayburn. You're the big guns, Matt, so let's get to it.
All right, Brie, let's do it. So I'm going to start off on the largemouth bass this week, as usual. Richland Chambers first. It's been a little tougher up there lately. Mr. Thurman Tillman tells me that the water's about 1.5 feet low. And that has left most of the cattails high and dry. And that's where he was catching a lot of his fish. So that pattern has kind of died off. But he is still catching some fish on finesse worms. And he's rigging them on a shaky head, catching fish around dock and any shallow cover that's near the deeper water. Now, over on Sam Rayburn, the bite's been really good, especially for the numbers of smaller fish. The cypress trees and the grass are still the cover of choice for the bass right now over there. They aren't too picky about bait selection, but there has definitely been a strong attraction to the smaller stuff. These bass are still chasing tiny little shad, so throwing something small really matches what they're eating the best. One of my favorites lately has been a Ned rig. Now, something I do a lot, something I just kind of started to pick up and check out, but it's working really well. You can put a half of a stick worm, like the Bass Assassin Fat Job, just cut it in half, and you can make 2 worms out of one. Put it on that little Ned rig jig head, and just work them over. This technique shines when you see those bass chasing shad along a shallow ledge where there isn't too much cover. You can pitch it around heavier cover as well, but usually I lean towards a small crawfish type bait, rig Texas style for that, because I like to have a bigger hook when I'm fishing that thicker stuff. So that's kind of the two go-tos for catching the numbers. There's still a frog bite in the grass as well, and most of the bigger fish are still being caught this way, but the number of bites is still a little low. Do look for that bite to pick up real soon as we get through the fall, and we've been getting some cooler weather, so anytime now that frog bite could be getting real good. Now over to Toledo Bend, the water level has stabilized a little bit. The water's no longer dropping like a rock. The Sabine River Authority has dropped the lake down to 6.5 feet below pool level, and they're basically in a holding pattern at this level until they complete the repairs on the spillway that they're doing. This is great for our fishing, short and long term, so we're very excited about this. You just have to be careful navigating around the lake right now because there are a lot of stumps out there. The fish are basically in a holding pattern as well. Not much has changed since last week. They're feeding really heavily on those tiny little threadfin shad, similar to Rayburn. They're using the river and the creek channel banks to ambush them. So the shallow play has been the deal, pushing their shad out of the channels up onto those ledges. The fish are pushing those shad up there and just corralling them and really feeding that high metabolism that they have right now. The bait of choice has been that secondary pig that I mentioned a minute ago, or a small crawl when you're in the heavier stumps and stuff, or even a ribbon-tail worm, like the Bass Assassin 7.5-inch worm around those stumps is good. Rigging it on a 3/16-ounce weight. And green pumpkin has been the most consistent for me lately, so I'm sticking with the KISS method here. I'm using that same color on all 3 baits, and it's been working awesome. And just for you, Captain Rick, I've got a picture here of myself and my favorite little furry fishing partner, Pearl, with a nice Toledo Bend bass we caught this week.
Dang,
What a great
boy.
day.
I love that hat. It's big enough to provide both you and Pearl shade.
That's not nice.
I love it.
Sunshade right there.
All right, tell me about the white bass.
All right, so the white bass on Lake Livingston have really been making the fishermen happy, even with the summer heat lately. Still seeing reports of big numbers catches. They're aggressive little fish. You know, they've been munching on the white spoons. So go look for them on the surface early in the morning or late in the evening, and then down near the bottom when the sun's out up high. When they're up on the surface, you can reel the spoon through the school, keeping it high in the water column. And then when they're down on the bottom, just drop it down and start jigging it off the bottom, and you'll catch them. Now, lastly, the crappie have still been treating us well at Toledo Bend. We're still catching good numbers. Not much has changed since last week either. They're still hanging around the stumps and chomping on the minnows, but some of the stumps are much shallower now. That's really the only thing that's changed. Some guys are catching crappie as shallow as 12 foot, even on the main lake right now. So the biggest key to finding them is just finding those good stumps that are kind of either right on the creek channel or river channel or are really close to it. Because kind of like the bass, that's what they're relating to. And I've got one more photo here for you. Got my dad with some clients and a nice table full of crappie they caught, kind of show you what we're catching.
Man, you guys are
Happy
on
customers.
fire. All right, dude, it might be from all the heat that you get in Texas, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Middle Fresh region. He says largemouth bass are biting shaky head worms at Richland Chambers and small soft plastics at Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. And then the white bass, they are chasing spoons at Lake Livingston, and the crappie are biting around the stumps in Toledo Bend.
Rick, I can't believe it's already Labor Day. The 30th annual CCA Texas Star Tournament may be ending soon, but that doesn't mean you can't still catch a winning fish. There's still plenty of tagged redfish left out there, and don't forget about the less glamorous winning species like sheepshead and gaff top too. Whether you're working birds, catching gaff top, or free-lining live shrimp at the jetties, you never know what you can win. So get registered online at startournament.org or at a weigh station until September 2nd. All right, we're casting to our Prospect Smokehouse Lower Fresh region next, but I know Dave Ferrell has some new products he's just dying to show off at the Workbench.
I got another Bubba blade here. I'm telling you, it'd be good on that meat, that Prospect meat.
Prospect meat.
Hey, it's
chop
thin to
up
keep
some
it
of
close
those
to the
top
skin,
Where are the
baby.
snacks? Where are the snacks? We'll be back.
We should have some.
We should.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yeti, built for the wild. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Miralure. Building Conservation Trust, CCA's National Habitat Program. And Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO. Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
Oh, there it is. You can either stay busy fishing or get busy catching. From Texas to Tampa Bay or Key West to the Carolinas and beyond. For nearly 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. Ask for Fish Bites and Fish Bites Fight Club lures by name or visit fishbites.com.
Over 40 years ago, Mr. Prospect began smoking meat in a little Texas town called Hilgi, combining fresh, grade A ingredients to create a variety of legendary smoked meats. Today, Prospect Smokehouse is a Texas tradition, and now Prospect not only satisfies hunger in Texas, but across the country. Visit Prospect.com and order everything from fresh meats to your choice of jerky. Prospect meats are made by Prospect, sold by Prospect, and can be delivered in as little as a day. Prospect Smokehouse, a link above.
Today's power pole tip of the week, we're going to discuss catching bait with the help of my power poles. I have a couple different styles of bait catching, and both of them my power poles assist me. First, on the grass flats in the bay, I'll use my power poles to stop the boat and keep it from pivoting. Then I'll begin to chum in front of my boat to bring the pilchards to the bow along with some pinfish. I'll throw my cast net a few times, bag my pilchards, put them in my live well, and go run my charter. My second method is what we call rodeo style, and we'll ride up and down the beach on the trolling motor looking for the pilchards, running down the beach, and I'm talking in 1 foot, 2 foot of water right along the beach. Once I've seen them, I'll throw the cast net on them. Using my foot switch, I'll lower the power poles, stopping the boat, bag the pilchards, put them in the live well. And that's today's power pole tip of the week.
Dave, we're here at the CCA Workbench, and I know there's a product tonight that you're very excited about, but let's get right into all of it.
We'll start with some of the lesser products, huh? Is that what you're saying?
Not lesser in any way.
Okay, I gotcha. This is some deck lighting from T&H Marine. It's the deluxe water deck lighting system, and you know, nowadays you don't have LED on your boat, you're not there. You know, you got to have that. You got to have the.
It ain't cool.
It's right. It's see and be seen type of thing, you know. And but they're really good for safety as well, because you can, you know, other boats can see you, and you can see inside the boat what you're trying to do, and plus they look nice. So you know, they're good all the way around. This kit here comes with 6 different 60 LED strips,
right,
and they all have a nice 3M backing on them, which is waterproof backing. You can put this, you know, in your boat and not have to worry about them coming off. And it really bright, and it comes with a nice little controller too, a dim switch, and you can pick different colors and whatnot.
Nice.
And you know, really nice. You can buy them in singles or in kits at TH Marine.
THMarine.com.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. We got some. That's the new Bubba blade there. That's the thin flex blade. If you go to CCA Academy, you can get one of these, and actually any money you give to buy one of these goes, a little bit of the money goes to CCA. It's got an 8-inch, very thin, very flexible blade, so you can, you know, fillet just about any kind of fish you want.
Thin to get close to the skin, baby.
Yeah, it gets really thin. Comes with that nice synthetic sheath as well. All the nice poly handles, so you can get a really good grip on stuff. You know, just a really good fillet knife.
CCA.com or Academy Sports.
You can go into Academy and go or buy one, or you can go online and get it. All right, next we got some swivels. You know, you hear me a lot of times. I'll be talking on here and I'll say, you know, don't get the barrel swivels. Get ball bearing swivels, and these are ball bearing swivels. These are the ones you want. You know, these are from Diamond Fishing Products, and these are all brass, and they have, you know, really good ball bearings inside that allow both ends to swivel. It's not swiveling on one end, so if you put pressure on it, it's going to swivel from both ends, and it's completely free, very long lasting, really strong swivels. They run from 40 to 50 to 200 pounds, and if you put one of these on here, you're not going to break it. I like the snap swivels with the tournament snaps. They're great for trolling offshore. You can also use them. Those are small. That's a 50-pound swivel. You can use that for bass fishing. It's small enough that nobody's going to see, you know, bass aren't going to care, and you can just keep changing stuff off, so you don't have to keep tying knots over and over and over and over again.
All right, Dave, we've got a special guest, John from Garmin Marine.
Yep, I've been wanting to see this thing for a while.
He has been asking me about this little unit. Why don't you tell everybody what this is?
Yeah, so this is the Garmin InReach Mini. It is a 2-way satellite text communicator, so anywhere in the world you're in communication with people. It has an SOS feature on it also. What I like about that is when you send the SOS out, you get a confirmation that someone has your location and can come and get you. It has tracking features on it. Of course, Garmin's a GPS company, so it's got a built-in GPS. It can hold 500 waypoints. It's waterproof. It's rugged. We also came out with a marine bundle, so we give you a mount and a power cord to hook up to your boat, and it can wirelessly connect to your Garmin chart plotter, so you can view and send text communication from your Garmin chart plotter, and also use the EarthMate app in order to communicate.
So this is great because it's a satellite. You don't have to worry, there's no phone, you don't have to worry about a phone or anything, so you can send a text and your position and people can follow your track.
They can follow along.
So that's a great thing for guys who are offshore, because you get out of cell phone
Well, what about a
range,
dude
and
that
now
goes-
you're in trouble if something happens. Now you can text somebody.
What about
anybody.
the guy that goes hunting and gets lost?
Yeah,
Hunters.
exactly.
Or even
Hikers.
hikers, joggers, You
Anywhere
never
in the
know.
world.
Yeah.
You never
How much
know.
is one of these little run?
A couple different versions. So you're going to spend anywhere between $350 and $380, depending on which version that you get.
See, that'd be a great substitute for an EPIRB. You could just send a text.
It's replaced the EPIRB. It's really compact. Thank you for spending your time with us
Absolutely.
tonight, John. And Brie, we got one more region to go.
Yes, we do. All right, football season is here, and our friends at Proshek Smokehouse have got you covered for all the tailgates. From now until Labor Day, you can sign up for this awesome meat package giveaway by going to prosheks.com/TIFR. All right, saving the biggest and best for last, let's talk about the bite in the Proshek Smokehouse Lower Fresh region on Lake Falcon, Decker, LBJ, Georgetown, Fayette, and Choke Canyon. Take us fishing, Matt.
Let's do it. Fishing, it's amazing how good the fishing is right now down here with it being hot as it is. Falcon Lake, it's really showing out right now. I'm catching them really well on Carolina rig soft plastics and deep crankbaits on the rock ledges from mid-lake to the dam. Plum and plum apple colored soft plastics have been best. Chartreuse pattern deep crankbaits have been doing most of my damage on giants. The best range is in that 12 to 20 foot depth right now. It's amazing how many 8 to 10 pound fish I've caught, me and customers have caught in the last week. So it's just really rolling right now. Moving on up to Lake Decker, it's fishing well. The fish are not schooling like they have been, so you kind of have to fish a little slower with a small swim bait in the areas there where they've been schooling around the discharge. But get a Carolina rig or a small Cinco style worm, get out on those points in 8 to 15 foot of water, and you can catch quite a few of them that way. If they do service, you need to get right in on them quick because they're not staying up long. Like LBJ, fishing really well right now. Start out in the mornings with a big 10 or 12-inch worm on a shaky head in that deeper water on the ledges where there's some big rock. Most of that's in that 15-foot range. That bite's slowing down mid-morning. Go to the docks and start skipping the jig up in the shade of those docks, far back under there as you can get. That's a way to catch some really good fish. There's still a few fish in the back of the pockets being caught on frogs. If you want to avoid the heat a little bit, get out there at night and run the lights on the end of the docks. A lot of those docks have green lights on them to attract the bait fish. And when the bait fish are there, it also, the big fish come in for an easy meal. Get you a 3-inch swim bait and throw it through the lights. You'll catch a lot of bass. You'll also have bycatch. You'll catch bluegill, freshwater drum, tons of whites. So, that can just be a lot of fun fishing that way. Moving on over to Lake Georgetown, there's been some decent schooling going on, surface schooling, fish busting at the lower end on the outside and just inside the pockets. Again, you can throw small swim baits in those school fish, crankbaits, and spoons to get most of them caught. Later in the day, get you a shaky head finesse worm and get out on the ledges in that 10 to 20 foot of water, and that's the best way to catch you some of the bigger ones there. Moving on up to Fayette County, still a little bit on and off, but you're not going to catch one if you don't go. Best bite's been in that 15 to 17 foot range because the thermocline is set up at 17 foot. Those fish are going to stay just above that thermocline. Get you a big crankbait, a drop shot, or a shaky head. Get out there on those main lake points in that 15 to 17 foot range, and the fish are schooled up. So when you find them, you may catch quite a few of them. Moving on down to Choke Canyon. Mike Bates has sent me a report from there that the lake level continues to fall. It's pushed the bass off of the shoreline structure because they're just running out of water. You need to concentrate on the inside and the outside edge of the hydrilla lines. Spinnerbaits, swim baits, and top waters have done the ticket in the morning. No giant bass, but fish up to 6 pounds have been caught. After you'll get up in the day and get the sun shining, get your Texas rig or a slow roller spinnerbait on the outside edges of the hydrilla. Got a picture there of Gwen, a customer of mine this week, with just a giant falcon bass. I love it when they get them big old bug eyes.
Man, you're just constantly wrecking them on Falcon. I'm so impressed. All right, tell me about the white bass and hybrids, bub.
All right, we got some white bass and hybrid. Lake Somerville, they're still schooling really well on the main lake and the flats down toward the dam. Get you a slab spoon or some sassy shad and get after them when you see them bust. Down here at Falcon, the birds are diving on those white bass early in the morning up till about noon. It's just like saltwater fishing. Look for the diving seagulls, get out there with a spoon or a crankbait, and you can catch all of them you want.
So, Matt, people don't know, but you've been sending me pictures, texting them to me. You are wrecking the extra large bass. What's the pattern that's really working for you, bub?
Well, a deep crankbait on main lake rock in that 10 to 20 foot range has been my best pattern. We've had several days where our best 5 fish are pushing 40 pounds, average on our best 5. So it's just really been a special week. So it's always fun down here in the summer.
Are you steady cranking that, or are you just twitching it a little and stopping, twitching and stopping quickly?
I crank it pretty hard. I want to grind it into the bottom. I want to grind it into the rock.
All right. So. A little deflection. I love it. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower fresh region hotspots, Falcon Lake. The bass fishing is as hot as the weather.
Whoa.
Throw big crankbaits or Carolina rig soft plastics on the main lake rocks, humps, and ledges to catch some absolute giants.
As hot as the weather. I like it. You're trying to get all the secrets because, man, those fish are pretty big.
Well, there's so many different ways to work a lure.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked them questions.
Deflecting off a rock really is a very effective way to crankbait fish. Whether you're fishing jetties for redfish or whether you're fishing rocks and bumps and humps for bass.
It's all in the wiggle.
As soon as it hits that rock and deflects, it interrupts it, the vibration, and it's a gobble gobble.
Gobble gobble. I like it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have an awesome Labor Day weekend. Catch lots of fish, and we'll see you here next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, Brie here with the Texas Insider Fishing Report. If you like what you saw and want to see more, click the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and comment below to see everything fishing in Texas.